Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last part, Team Rocket was doing something on the radio, so let's go see if Goldenrod Tower's alright, which, given there's a bunch of take over the radio tower... Okay, yeah, there's, bad things happening here. And I do like how they foreshadow this as soon as you first get to Goldenrod. Just since someone's looking at it. Very minor, but it's there. Get used to hearing the encounter theme, by the way. Who are you? We have some business going on. I was told not to let anyone pass for Team Rocket. Do you understand? You're only allowed to come through when you're wearing the cool black uniform for Team Rocket. Now, that particular wording might sound interesting, but if you paid attention to every NPC's dialogue on the first trip to Goldenrod, I think I talked to the person in question, you might already know what to do here. We want to head into Goldenrod Tunnel. Do kind of wish they kept playing the song that was on the radio when you flew, by the way, because the happy-go-lucky Goldenrod music does not fit the scenario at all.
Hey? Are you a newcomer too? We had to recruit new members for the radio tower mission. Then we ran out of uniforms. I hear this studio has some, so I decided to borrow one. Since you're here, why don't you change as well? Look at you. Pretty good. Oh, but you shouldn't try to scare people walking around looking like that, okay?
And I do like how you get a unique sprite here as both the protagonists. It's really neat. Kind of wish you actually had the ability to use this as a main costume in post-game, but I kind of get why they wouldn't let you story-wise. Alright, so since we're now a convincing-looking member of Team Rocket, let's try to get back into the radio tower again. I mean it, by the way. Get used to hearing this. You're more or less hearing this for the rest of this video and into the next.
Ah, you must be new. You look pretty good in the Team Rocket uniform. Go on ahead.
Hi, Silver. Hey, Team Rocket. Stop going around in groups and troubling people, you cowards. Huh? Are you... Kyle? What are you doing here? No way. You think you're strong now you look like them? That's foolish. You shouldn't wear those things. Oh, God.
But you're not a newcomer. Then battle with me.
Same kind of Pokemon you're going to be finding as the Team Rocket HQ, by the way. A lot of the Raticate line, a lot of the Grimer line, the occasional Geodude, a lot of the Zubats. You get used to seeing a lot of poison and ground types, essentially.
You're too powerful. You could spoil our plan. I have to inform the others.
I see. You were trying to be sneaky. A typical idea of the meek. No matter. I'll let you handle this. I have to defeat the Dragon Tamer. What's his name? Lance! After that, it'll be your turn. Be ready for it. As one-track mind as ever, I see. Well, I guess we might as well get ready. Now, at this point, Blaze is getting a little bit ahead of the others in levels, which is a little bit against how I used to tend to play the series, but that's mostly to get them up to catch up. Why do they want to take over the radio tower? Well, they're clearly trying to call in Giovanni for some reason. Thankfully, a lot of the battles here are optional. And they usually give you... This is one of the biggest cases I can think of in the game, where they usually give you a choice of, do you want to fight this trainer or that trainer? Speed up theme for this part, by the way, is Stage 3 from Sunsoft's Batman game on the NES. One of my favorite licensed games on that platform, bar none. Really solid platformer. Thankfully, they do throw a couple of new Pokemon in this time around, but, man, it's rough. The really annoying thing is, to me, and this is just on, like, a repetitiveness scale, the area theme here is the encounter theme for Team Rocket, but then you talk to them, and it just starts back up instead of continuing. I don't need it to restart every 15 seconds. That is a little needless. If anything, though, good for experience, especially considering it allows Blaze to finally reach the third form. At level 36, Quilava evolves into Typhlosion, still a pure fire type, so it is still only weak to ground, rock, and water. Out of the 3 starters in Johto, it is without a doubt the highest special attack and speed. At this point, Crocodile would have evolved into Feraligatr, which we'll talk more about in depth in a bit. I basically completely ignored through this LP the Chikorita line, haven't I? Chikorita's line, like I think I gave the Brass Tax at like the start of the LP, but pure grass type, so it's always going to be weak to flying, poison, bug, fire, and ice. It's meant to be the defensive line out of the series instead of like the special attack or the physical attack based. But because of the amount of weaknesses it has, its low HP and low attack stats, it just doesn't get a learn set or any kind of niche that really fits it. But unlike that is Muck. Pure poison type evolves from Grimer at level 38, weak to ground and psychic. This Pokemon has high HP, high physical attack, and is a special tank if memory serves, so it can take a lot of special damage pretty easily without having a big dent in its HP. With that said, try to attack it physically. It's still got some beefy defense, but it's going to be a lot more noticeable on that end, and it can't really do anything special attack-wise or speed worth a damn. Very much a Pokemon I underestimated a lot in use as a kid, because I just looked at it and went, that's just a pile of goop, that's not going to be good at all. And admittedly, it got a little bit better even in Alola, because the addition of the Dark subtype really did go a long way to make this even more useful. Because I think it also added some really good moves it can learn. The only problem with a lot of Pokemon you're going to encounter throughout Johto is you'll find a lot of useful Pokemon in Pokemon battles, but you're not going to be able to catch a lot of them in a lot of cases until the very end of the game. Like, there's one we're going to encounter later this part. You can't get until the genuinely last dungeon in the game, and that's so far ahead of us right now. This Team Rocket Grunt in particular also has a new Pokemon for us. This is Weezing. This evolves from Coughing at level 35. Pure poison type, so it is weak to ground and psychic, but they usually have levitate, so that ground isn't much to worry about. It's just the psychic type you have to worry about here. Weezing is an incredibly physically based defensive tank. It's sort of the partner to Muck in that regards versus Muck's high special defense. It can do some good attacking, but it's not got a lot of health and speed. I've used one a couple times. A lot of people have used them throughout LPs, especially prior to the physical special split. They're worth having around. They're just pretty plain in my eyes, I guess is the way I want to phrase it. And notably, Chris just reached level 36. So at 36, Vaporeon in this generation learns Aurora Beam. That is our first ice move that we're going to have for a while, and we're going to want to have one of those far in advance of things to come up ahead of us, because it's good to have ice types around. Because, call it a hunch, they might come in handy in some form. In fact, it wasn't kind of a pain in the ass to find an ice-type Pokemon in Johto. I would recommend finding one of them, period, for your team. It is a little weird looking back that you sort of have two large scenarios of Team Rocket right after each other in this. In Gen 1/Fire Red Leaf Green, you usually got a decent break of a gym or two before the next time you dealt with Team Rocket. And starting in Gen 3, they never really made you fight the same team over and over again in a direct row like that. Because like Gen 3, you alternated usually between Magma and Aqua. There was some good distance in Gen 4, if memory serves, from all the galactic stuff. But that game's pacing is also just weird at times. Gen 5, there's a good break between all the plasma stuff, but they're also more focused in what they can do, I guess, in that game. It's been a while since I last played Gen 6, so I do not remember much about how the pacing for Team Flare goes. I guess you fight Team Skull a good bit as well, now that I think about it. Not Team Yell, though. Oh, man. They were radically underutilized, even with the punchline they ended up having. With that said, this scientist has a new Pokemon for us to fight. This is Porygon, pure normal type, so it is weak to fighting, immune to ghosts. Porygon's sort of a special attacker. Its stats aren't anything super standout, and it wasn't until, I think, Gen 2 added the evolution it would get. And in that case, if memory serves, it got to be a much more focused defensive special attacker. And the final evolution they gained in Gen 4, radically good special attacker, but it ended up gaining a lot more in speed in that evolution. The only problem with raising one of these, I'd find, barring a large move pool it can learn from, is both of its evolutions are trade evolutions. So that's a lot of back and forth. Although I should note, even though I'm not going for Pokedex completion, if you are going for Pokedex completion yourself, you don't need to worry about catching a Pokemon yourself if you're being traded and then it evolves. If you get a Pokemon from a trade and it evolves, you get both in your Pokedex if memory serves. The other thing that Porygon's got going on is that its abilities are Download and Trace. Trace just copies the ability of the opposing Pokemon when you throw it out. Download, though, is interesting. That raises the respective attack stat of the Pokemon to match whichever one of the opponent's defense stats is lower. So if the opponent has a lower special defense stat, it'll raise your special attack. That can make for a pretty adaptable attacker in that regard, even with the slight specialty towards the special. Do you hear me? I am the director. We have decided to broadcast wonderful shows to praise Team Rocket. Everyone, I don't want to hear you complain. Just do a good job to... Yikes! I'm busy impersonating the... Who are you?
Oh no, it's you again, Kyle. No, I was pretending to be the director to influence the entire region to support Team Rocket. This time I won't hold back. Give me all you got.
Now, if only you gave us everything you could have, Petrol, because this fight's kind of sad. Full team of 6 Pokemon. Number 1 is a Coughing with Levitate, Sludge, Smokescreen, Self-Destruct, and Tackle. Get used to that. Good special attacks, good physical attacks, fire or psychic attacks especially. You can take this down pretty quickly. I really do wish they made the Rocket executives more important in the game. Like, even they just showed up in the background in some cutscenes a bit more. Team Rocket really is, like, the blandest of all of the teams throughout Pokemon. Because they're just mafia, basically. They're organized crime. Oh, next out, he's sending out his Weezing. Levitate for its ability, Tackle, Sludge, Smokescreen, and Explosion. Yeah, like... Gen 3, Team Aqua and Magma are crazy, but at least they believe what they're doing is right in a way, you know? Like, there's that culty nature to them that makes them inherently more interesting. Team Galactic took that and ran with it. Team Plasma is perhaps the most realistic team in terms of goal I've ever seen, and especially in terms of how corrupted said goal can be. Team Flare is just a death cult. There's nothing about that that's right. Team Skull is probably my favorite team from a character angle, honestly. And Team Yell is just fanboys. I can't wait for 3 months from now when Gen 9 comes out, and I'm like, oh! So this team is this. If there even is one. There's probably gonna be. Alright, next up, he's sending out a Coughing. Levitate, Sludge, Smokescreen, Self-Destruct, and Tackle. You might think, huh, that's the exact same thing the last Coughing had. You're correct. He has 5 of them. They have the exact same moveset. Why? Pokemon's boss design, I feel, has always been its biggest weakness. At least for... like... main plot boss battles that aren't gym leaders, because I get why the gym leaders are all focused on a single type and only used generally Pokemon new to that type, because they're trying to show off how the new Pokemon can work, what movesets can work with them, things like that. But for team battles specifically, I always felt the executives should vary their Pokemon more. And Petrol here is probably one of the worst excuses of a period. If memory serves, from Gen 5 on, they get a little better with it, but not by much. Mind you, Gen 4, I think, in general, was the game where they started to vary up how endgame Pokemon battles worked, where prior to Gen 4, like, the champions were also usually monotype Pokemon after the Elite Four even were still that. Like, Cynthia really did change the game for that. I guess technically Blue did, because Blue's team was not monotype as well from memory. But it was Cynthia that really made them start to make that a more common thing, because Gen 5 had that, more or less. Gen 6 backtracked on that, actually, but at least they had the excuse in that one of having a new type to focus on. Gen 7 did it pretty well as well. Mind you, Gen 7's entire endgame setup is radically different, and I really appreciate that. It's a thing of it, I think part of it is a thing of, while Pokemon is enjoyed by audiences of genuinely all ages, it is still primarily meant to be for children, I guess. So they want to have boss fights that can be easily digestible in a way. But sometimes I feel it just doesn't hit the right effect and makes the fight feel less important, especially. Like Petrol here, he's one of the executives. Sure, we've only seen him the one time, and that was 2 videos ago. But it's meant to be, oh man, Team Rocket's doing their plot. Here's the first executive. He's got 5 coughings, which we've seen, God, too many of in the past, like, 3 hours of game. It's annoying. That's one thing I'll actually give Arceus, now that I think about it. Because that game's different structure led to radically different feeling boss fights. Even if one of them is by and large copy-pasted from Gen 4.
Okay, I'll tell you where he is. Listen carefully. We stashed the real director in the underground warehouse. It's at the far end of Goldenrod Tunnel. I'm a nice guy. I'll give you the basement key to get to the underground warehouse. Take it with gratitude.
Why was I going through that text so fast? Did I just forget I was having to read that? That's probably what it was. So we need to go back into Goldenrod Tunnel, and something I didn't show off back when we first reached this area is that there's a door over here to the right on this branch. Oh, hi again. Team Rocket members in black suits have been running around. I was wondering what was going on. So, you took on Team Rocket? You are impressive. You may be able to face the legendary Ha 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 ha! Never mind. I must go now. Okay, bye. Every time we see you, it's a really weird cutscene. No entry beyond this point. I'm entering beyond this point. I'm breaking the rules. Woo! So welcome to deeper Goldenrod Tunnel. This is a proper dungeon, unlike a lot of areas. If I recall, they changed the level design here a good bit in the remake. What do you want this time? Hold it. What I told you before was to deceive you. I thought it would let me tail you, and it would lead me to Lance. Well, he never showed up. No matter. I was planning to beat you after Lance, but since you're here, I'll repay my debts. Round 4, fight! Silver is expanding his party, at least by this point, because he's got a full team of 5, and some of them are starting to evolve. For instance, his Zubat is now a Golbat, inner focus for its ability, Air Cutter, Confuse Ray, Bite, and Astonish. Not too different from our own Kenny's moveset at one point, honestly. Now that I think about it, are there any, like, champions, rival fights, or anything that actively teach their Pokemon, like, TM moves instead of just pure level-up moves? I guess you could say maybe like Battle Frontier type stuff, but that's a little bit different scaling-wise. I genuinely cannot remember if there's moves that can only be taught by TM that rivals and stuff will use. Huh. I might need to actually look into that at some point. If anyone would have done that, it probably would have been Sharon, now that I think about it. That very much is a him move. With Golbat out of the way, Silver's now going to be sending out his Sneasel. This is also a new Pokemon, and I'm wondering how the hell he got this, because you can't get this until the last dungeon in the game. Inner Focus for its ability, Feint Attack, Quick Attack, Icy Wind, and Fury Swipe. Sneasel itself, though, is a Dark Ice type, meaning it is weak to Fighting, Rock, Bug, Steel, Fire, and Fairy. Immune to Psychic, though. That's a lot of weaknesses, but this Pokemon's meant to get in and do its damage before it can usually get attacked. High speed, high attack. With that said, on its own it wasn't much. It didn't get to be a lot until it got its generation in, I think, Gen 4 was when Weevil was introduced. And that Pokemon is really good. Next up, his starter is also fully evolved. It's for Alligator time. Pure water type, so it is weak to Grass and Electric. Evolves from Croconaw at level 30, actually, not 36. That actually evolves really quickly. Stat-wise, it is very high physical attack and defense. It's lower physical attack, though, than Typhlosion is special attack from memory, which is a little bit weird that they're not equal on that. It's got some balanced stats otherwise. It's good at special attacks at this point. It's got some good HP. It's decently fast. But at this point, a Feraligatr, unless you're using one yourself and you have very varied moves, probably isn't going to be doing a lot to you. This Feraligatr, for instance, has Torrent, Water Gun, Ice Fang, Crunch, and Thrash. Water Gun would not be the water type move I would have in a Feraligatr. I would go with Surf. Ice Fang is a good choice, though. Next out, he's sending out his Haunter. Shadow Ball, Confuse Ray, Mean Look, and Curse has Levitate because it's a Haunter. Once you've gotten past, I'd say, the Feraligatr, you're past the hardest part of it. As usually the most annoying Haunters are the types that have, like, Hypnosis and Dream Eater. If they're just focused on pure attack, they're probably not going to stand much of a chance against you at this point in the game, especially if you have your own Ghost type. As I ponder if I should use Shadow Punch or Shadow Ball. That is a trap I find myself falling into a lot if I have two of the same type of move, and the difference is between physical or special, not so much power. Because I'll wonder, well, I have lower physical attack, but they have lower physical defense, so it'll balance out maybe? Even though in some cases it's usually just better to go with whatever your highest attack stat is. And his final Pokemon's a Magnemite. Hey, why so serious? Why are you quoting The Dark Knight? The movie only came out like a year prior, man. Although, now I'm curious if it came out before Dark Knight in Japan. Because Dark Knight was a July 08 movie, I think? Oh no, September was, the 2009 release date was for Japan anyway, so, yeah, we didn't get this game until 2010, damn. Either way, his Magnemite's got Magnet Pull for the ability, Thunder Wave, Spark, Supersonic, and Sonic Boom. By the time you've reached this, you're more or less at the end of the fight anyway. Not a lot to write home about. I do usually appreciate rival fights a lot in Pokemon, whether or not they're friendly rivals or not, because I really don't care about that distinction myself. A rival is a rival, whether or not they're an asshole to me or friendly. I do appreciate that they at least evolve their Pokemon as you go through, because I feel that's a problem even with some of the, like, team admin fights, is that sometimes they just add more Pokemon. They don't usually outright evolve too many times. Plus, hey, Silver's got a good type spread out here, not gonna lie. Why? Why do I lose? I assembled the toughest Pokemon. I didn't ease up on the gas. So why did I lose? I know type layouts better than you? I don't understand. Is what that Lance guy said true? That I don't treat Pokemon properly? Love. Trust? Are they really what I lack? Are they really keeping me from winning? I just don't understand. But it's not gonna end here. Not now. Not because of this. I won't give up my dream of becoming the world's best Pokemon trainer. Okay, see you in a couple of parts again, man. Same time next week. The first floor of the Goldenrod tunnel is interesting, in that we actively have a little bit of a puzzle here. There's 3 switches in the center room here. Each switch changes the state of the doors in the rooms that have that color in the center. So if you press the blue switch, the doors in the blue rooms will all switch to their next state. you need to press all the switches in such a way to open up the bottom right exit from those areas, as that's where we can progress further into Goldenrod Tunnel. But there are a couple of trainers around, as well as an item or two you might want to grab with the dowsing machine. So don't just rush past it all. Plus, I think all the fights in here do disappear if you just leave them behind. And I ain't wasting that experience. I want to say this puzzle was added for Heart Gold SoulSilver, because I remember, if memory serves, Goldenrod Tunnel was a dungeon that got its level design changed in every version of Johto. In Gold Silver it was different, in Crystal it was slightly different, and here in Heart Gold SoulSilver it's different. And there's a lot of areas that have that kind of thing happen to them. I'm immediately thinking of Cerulean Cave, and every game that's in, barring I think Let's Go, it has a completely different level design. And I kind of get why, because they probably are like, well, it's one of the final challenges, so if it being the same thing every single time you're in Kanto, it would probably be a little annoying if it was the same thing every time. But also, like, why change it from, if memory serves, red and green into blue? Or even into yellow, even. It's a perplexing little mystery in its own little way. But we're out. You can press the purple switch, and now you have a shortcut. Hell yeah. I do believe after this particular trainer, by the way, I do take a moment to leave and go heal up, because I like doing that regularly. Level-wise at this point, by the way, you should probably be about in your early to mid-30s across your entire team, barring super focusing on one or two Pokemon for either getting an evolution down the line earlier or something like that. I'd say by the end of Johto, you should probably be in your mid-40s to late 40s. Some people would say 50s. In fact, if memory serves, back at the end of my Crystal LP, I was mid-50s at the end of Johto. But I'm a lot different than I was at that point. Like, I distinctly remember being super impressed with myself for sweeping a rival fight with my Typhlosion down the line in that LP, and looking back, that's really not the way I am now, because I'm like, I did it, cool. I want to say it's probably because that's the week I learned what a sweep was in Pokemon, by following, like, Pimp Night or something back in the day. But nowadays, I don't really care. I just want to get experience for my team and make sure they're all leveled up. This Rocket Grunt you can avoid, but I think I've only successfully done it once just because I'm weirdly slow on the D-pad for some reason. Yuck, I remember you. You got me good at our hideout. Plus, it's that guy. How could I not fight that guy? He's just here to have a good time. And really, aren't we all? Although, wait, now that I think about it, it's the Pokemon fan base, so sometimes we play games just to have a bad time, apparently. Thankfully, the Goldenrod Tunnel, after the door puzzle, doesn't really have much in the way of a mechanic. There's a weird thing at the very end of it, but that you can do that as soon as you first reach a certain other area. Mother, this is not the time to call me on the phone. I'm saving the day. Sleep Talk can be really useful to have around if you're going for a rest moveset. I don't tend to use it, but it can be good. Oh, what? You came to rescue me. Thank you. The radio tower? What's happening there? Taken over by Team Rocket? Here, take this card key. Use that to open the shutters on the 3rd floor. I'm begging you to help. There's no telling what they'll do if they control the transmitter. They may even be able to control Pokemon using a special signal. You're the only one I can call on. Please, save the radio tower. And all the Pokemon nationwide. I'm on it. And now for probably the funniest part about this to me. We're now in a floor you could have seen a while back, if memory serves. This is the basement floor of the Goldenrod Department Center. And there's items we can grab down here, too. Not only just hidden ones, but you might see all these Machokes, which I believe are a different Pokemon in the original generation, too, or something like that. If you talk to their trainer while they're facing them, like a space or two away from them, they'll move a box and you can actively get another item. These items aren't super useful, but you might as well grab them while you're here. I remember as a kid, these two on the left, I thought you could only get one of the items there for years because for some reason the trainer just would not move the Machoke to, or move to the right Machoke to have them move the box. So I just kind of assumed. I think there was also a period I thought it was maybe a version exclusive, so like only SoulSilver could get the item on the bottom and Heart Gold could get the item on the top. But I don't think Pokemon's ever really done a thing where you could only grab one item if presented with a choice like that, barring maybe the fossils. But that's also to encourage trading with the other versions or other players so you can help get that Pokemon. So I at least understand in that case why they do it. Man, that Ultra Ball really was the most useful of those items there, unless you're going for a long time without using a Pokemon Center, huh? The PP restorative items are really useful for marathon areas, especially towards the end game. But casually, I would rather just backtrack to a Pokemon Center anyway. But yeah, once we come to the elevator, we're just on the basement floor of the department store. I remember laughing when I first got here because I was just like, oh no, the department store's evil. When really it was just they had no idea what was going on beneath them. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 15, we're going to head back into the radio tower and stop this Team Rocket conquering business, hopefully once and for all. See you guys then.